Eva Myrczik, and I'm working on project number 5 as part of the VOS Museum project. So my project is actually about digital museum mediation, which of course entails a lot of different things, and it's also part of my project actually to find out what exactly it entails, especially in Danish museums. So my goal is to first of all be able to kind of like draw a picture of the Danish digital museum world and what kind of projects have been implemented so far. What are the trends that we can talk about now after approximately 20 years, which have kind of started with the first websites that museums have made for themselves. But of course this development was also driven by an ongoing digitization. My first step as part of this research was to actually look back and see what has happened so far. And what I found interesting and what I wanted to share with you also was this book that I found that's actually about a conference that happened in New York in 1968. So that's quite a while ago, and I would say that back then there was no digital mediation yet in museums. So it was interesting to see that this conference that is called Computers and Their Potential Applications in Museums already happened so many years ago. And actually what's quite nice about it, when we look at how it was published and how it was talked about, can actually see that this was written with a typewriter, of course. So to think back, or to think about that these thoughts about how we can apply newer technologies and computers in order to facilitate something that might not be possible in exactly the same way, or that hasn't been done before, to already at the end of the 60s to think about how that can be used for the museum world. And that means in this case, for example, for learning and educational purposes. So it was quite interesting to see that these thoughts have already existed. And right now I'm actually talking to museum professionals, so I'm conducting interviews in order to find out how are they using digital within their exhibitions or within their museums or as part of their museum communication, and what kind of expectations do they have when they use something that is digital. Is it still something more traditional? Is it still the same thought? Or is it something that's more of an experimentation, for example? So it's really interesting to find out what is happening all over Denmark in all the museums. And as my next step, I will also conduct a survey. Because I want to find out actually how the digital side of museum mediation can have an influence on different outcomes. And those outcomes are, so far, that I have decided on one hand, it's knowledge sharing. Then we have the visitor experience and participation. And I will share with you later how I'm actually working with all those terms, and on the PhD research side of the whole thing. Of course, here in my office I have a whiteboard and I'm trying to write down all my thoughts, and they have been evolving steadily since I first started 1 year ago. So maybe we can just look at it together.